Battlefront.
And welcome to Battlefront SouthGate. I am your host, Dustin Faulkner. Yes, sometimes that's all you can do when everything seems to be coming against you, right? It looks like we are entering some dark territory in our nation. And as we've seen day after day after day, things seem to be getting worse, especially after we began here in 2021. A lot of us knew that things were going to get worse. We knew that after last year, it just didn't look good for the nation. And we're coming to you tonight to talk to you about the things that's going on and about the issues that we're going to have to face. And as you know, we're coming up in 4 days to a transition of power to an administration that stole it out from under the feet of all of the voters in this nation. And a lot of hope was put into people that didn't give good hope in the end. These people gave up. These people didn't listen. These people allowed these things to happen. And we witnessed last year troubling issues, troubling things that just seemed to overtake our country. And just seemed to really come against us as Christians. And we've seen a lot of Christians give in. And that's a problem. And that's a problem we're going to address tonight. You'll hear a lot of people saying, well, my home is not of this world. That my home is in another world. In fact, they wear this NOTW sign. These things that they do to put on themselves, to make themselves feel better in their rationalizations. So that they can have an excuse not to operate in this world. Because we were told not to hide in this world by our God. And it seems that that's exactly what has happened. It seems that the Christians in this nation are becoming silent. Now, this past week, you've watched a lot happen. A lot of things that have been troublesome for us. A lot of things that would cause weaker people to give in. And you know, I watched this past year people that you had talked to for all of these years and that were beginning to listen. And all it took was some propaganda from a virus to scare them and to make them give in. And all it took was a bunch of people who sit in an office to give some kind of stupid orders and then use false figures in the fear of death to cause people to obey. And these people that go around saying that they're not of this world and that we just need to be peaceful and obedient, and how they distort Romans 13 to be obedient to a tyrannical government. These same people who claim that they're not of this world are the same people who willingly laid down in it. And they are the same people scared of death. Because if you really know where you're going, you're not going to be scared of what man can do unto you. This biological warfare that we are in. Yes, we are being hit on several fronts. And we've tried to rationalize, we've tried to reason with all of you. We've tried to grab people and get them to listen, and to get them and to rise, to be stronger, to kick back against these men who have come to take them down. And they refuse to do it. They lay down and give in. And they have laid down and given in. I understand. I've had my own troubles. And many of you who follow me there on Twitter, what's left of you, because I have been largely censored. Our company who produces this show for the Gatekeepers Podcast Network, Battlefront Broadcasting, has been censored. I'm not even allowed to buy advertising on these social media platforms in order to push forward the message, in order to build the company. Now, I've always known these things were coming. I've always known. You got to prepare. And I've tried to prepare. This year was very difficult. Even for many of us who have prepared, it has become so powerful in the fight against these things that we've lost quite a bit, and that we have been brought to our knees. Even though we've always been on our knees, praying and giving glory to our Father in heaven, we've been brought to our knees, and we've been kicked in the gut, and we've been punched in the face, and now we've had our tongue ripped out and our hands cut off so that we can't reach people. But as I was saying, for many of you who follow me there on Twitter, who still are there, because Parler's gone now, I don't foresee it coming back. At DLloydFaulk, DLOIDFAUOK, have seen that I have not given up. But I've also put out messages out there as trying to get people to follow along and see, and to try and lead people in this nation to do the right things and to be prepared. And you know, I've always been prepared. I've exhorted many people to be prepared. I've tried to teach them the things that they need to be prepared with. Even in these same things, those of us who were prepared, we're moving on to things like I am doing. And we have given up a lot so that we can be out here to do these things, because we've had to make sacrifices on our end. And it has knocked us down, and it has been a great blow to us. But you see, we never stopped fighting. And we have never given up. We have always been out there trying to get the information to you, because we know that we have a responsibility. I know that I have one. And I know that it requires sacrifice in order to build the things that I seek to do. All good things you will suffer for. And you will hear, as you can also watch, we're going to be bringing this back up, because even, we've run into some issues that have eaten our time away, and we've not been able to produce as much. That's why it's important to support us. But we're going to be bringing back JCM Third Covenant sermons with Dustin Faulkner there on Battlefront Broadcasting, and where I give sermons from a Community Presbyterian Church. That would be Pastor the Reverend John C. Martin III, and I take all of his Bible commentary that he does, and then I deliver these messages every Wednesday night. They'll be later, of course, but you can go and look at some of these things that I've delivered with them, and I purposefully do some things where I would handpick a lot of them as I was going along. We started into the Colossians, and admittedly I've missed church because some things that happened here on this end, and I have not been able to attend in person, although I have attended in other means, but we'll be bringing that back. But you listen to some of those messages that we were delivering, exhorting you on the truth of what the Bible says about being a Christian and living in this world, and our purpose that God has for us who are His. And a common thing that you always hear said in those commentaries that I deliver to you, and then I even add some of the commentary of my own based upon that commentary. But remember that all things that happen to us, God will use for good for His people. And sometimes it's never easy to see that good that happens when the bad things are happening to you. Everybody knows, is in Christianity, all of us who read the Bible and all of us who put our faith in the Word and our mind in the Word know all of the story about Job. I don't need to go and rehash all of that with you. But you know that you will suffer, but suffering does not mean you quit and lay down. And it does not mean that you give up the things that are important for us to move forward and take care of one another in the body of Christ. And you've listened to everything that I've said. I know that many of you have. You followed SouthGate for a while, and I thank you for all of you who are still here with us promoting it as we're in a new format live. We got a lot of special things coming for you on that. Some things that we're going to be doing is we're going to get back into editing these as well, so that you get it in great podcast formats. There's just a lot going on, and there's a lot that we're trying to do in the little time that we have now because of the new employment that I've had to take. But you know that I've always fought for you, and you know that I've always been in that battle to where I don't give in. And many of you know some of the sufferings that I've been through. And I'm pretty transparent on a lot of stuff. Now, I believe in privacy for sure. It's important that I do, especially when you're in the public sector. But when you're in the public sector, there's not a lot of privacy. And I know that that's the trade-off, and I'm willing to do it. But I've always tried to be transparent as that I can be, so that you all know that things that I'm saying on this program, I mean, I'm not lying about them. That I want you to see the things that I go through, the suffering. And it's really not something that I like doing, because I don't want people to have to see that side of me. But it's important for you to see it. And I've always felt that, because when you're going through these things, people need to see that you're the kind of person that doesn't give up, especially when you have been put into a leadership position. And I consider myself to be in a leadership position, and I hope that I'll gain more leadership, because it is something that is strong in my heart. It is something that with every fiber of my being, I seek to do. I don't like to be the guy on the sidelines. So it's important that I be a leader. But as I go through this journey of getting into being in the forefront of everything that we need to be fighting for, I have let you see some of these things of myself. And the reason I do that is so that I can hopefully motivate other people that just because things happen to you doesn't mean you quit. And to see that it's everything's a journey that we go through, and that suffering is good, because suffering makes you better. Suffering causes you to be a better person if you do it righteously. I'm a kicker and a screamer. I will go through complaining many times. And that is a weakness of mine. I don't like to suffer. I don't know many that do. But it has to be done. Over many of the years of problems, you go through these things, and if you go through them right and then come out on top and you don't lay down and quit, you become a better, stronger person. And because of all of those things, you're able to relate to so many people. I can't tell you how much I am able to relate to somebody now than I was a year ago. That I always tried to understand. I always try to be an understanding person. But I always try to be the person that tells the truth and gets to the point and is a direct communicator. And I like to tell people this is the way it is. And that's why it's important that we do these things. And that's why tonight, that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to tell you that this is the way that it is. And I'm going to hopefully reach you all tonight as we're coming up on January 20th. And I hope that you stick with me, because we got some talking to do about what's happening in the body of Christ in America, the last beacon of freedom, the last chance of religious freedom that we're able to be out there worshiping openly our Lord and Savior. And when we come back, we will get into that more. And you stick with us. This is Battlefront Southgate.
Hey, this is Jeff Dornick, founder of the GK Podcast Network. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I hope that you'll subscribe to this channel and give us a 5-star review. You have no idea how much this helps us. Also, if you'd like to watch the full version of the show, you can join our plugged-in membership. For only $10 a month, you'll get access to the live stream and full video versions of our shows, the recordings from the Destroy Social Justice Conference, online access to our book Social Injustice, our weekly devotional, 30% off in the GK store, and so much more. Please visit gatekeepersonline.com/plugged-in for more information and to sign up. Thank you for your support.
And welcome back to the second segment of Battlefront Southgate. Thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight we are talking about how Christians are not supposed to lay down. I'd like to begin this with a quick story. And, earlier in the day, well, not earlier in the day, but a few hours ago, my wife had come home. And, let me start over here. She had come home. She had sent me a text message because she was out and she was at the store doing some shopping for a baby shower that we're going to attend after church tomorrow. And, glory be to God that we're still able to have people that are able to have children still. Boy, it's going to look a lot different here soon, I feel. But she sent me this picture in the kids section. Gosh, if I can just remember what it said. It was a little shirt, and it was this shirt for a kid to wear, and it was like said something like social distancing master or something like that, right? And the whole premise of that shirt is that they're bragging that they stay away from people, and they're bragging that they have complied as children to these measures. But it's not just that. It's fashion. It's behavioral engineering. And I wonder how many Christians are buying those cute little shirts for their little girls to wear, and having them go to school with the masks on because they're afraid of getting sick by something that the numbers can't still to this day are not even right. That they go against one another with the World Health Organization and the CDC and Fauci's foolish back and forth of his stupid science. And that's right, I called it stupid science because he's not even a good scientist. I heard something said one time, and what do you call a doctor who graduated at the bottom of his class? A doctor. That's right. And you know that you've had all of these people throughout all of these years pushed through these schools. They get them through. They pay all of this money. And you know that there's people graduating out there. Look at all of the malpractice lawsuits that we've seen throughout all of the decades. Do you really think that the people who also get into these bureaucracy organizations are going to be the good ones? Because the good ones are out there actually doing something. They have practices of their own. A lot of them don't work for the big organizations. They go out and they do it themselves. They put their own money up, already the money that they spent on medical school, and they do these things. And a lot of these guys, they own their own businesses as medical doctors, are against the COVID numbers. And then you look, all of the stuff that we were told to do, all of these years the days last year, these wicked politicians who were locking their cities and their states down, locking the country down, continuing to do so, but letting all of the people out there protesting and destroying stuff while they're going and saying that Americans who were let into the Capitol by the officers there, and they were going around taking pictures, were insurrectionists, but would not call insurrectionists to the Black Lives Matter and Antifa groups. The people not being censored on social media. And now you see, like that clown, Lightfoot. What's that clown doing? She's out there saying that we need to open things up real fast now. They're not echoing. They are taking everything that we were trying to do last year, pushing with our protests, our peaceful gatherings as we went to the capitals of our states and would stand out there shouting to the governors that they were doing the wrong things. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Abbott, super Christian. But we were out there shouting and telling us that we can't be locking this down. And now you have them, now that they've stolen power, and now that they are marginalizing Christians, and now that they are marginalizing patriots, good citizens of the United States of America, they're saying the things that we were saying to do then. Then they're rushing you to get problematic vaccines. And as we have done in the last two programs, you have heard me talk about the faith leaders, not real faith, but the faith leaders, the people who are faith in name only, the hirelings, the giant crony capitalist businessmen. I live by one. A large organization, as a matter of fact. We'll be bringing some stuff out about them here in some point here in this year. But They're the ones out there pushing for this stuff too. And then you have Biden out there with his $1.9 trillion stimulus. As we go into the modern monetary theory that's been pushed this last year, the things that we railed against, the things that we went through in 2009, who remembers that? I can tell you I remember it. I remember all the pay cuts I had to get while I was barely being able to provide for my family and trying to move up in a company that cans me later anyway. That slanders my name. But you see all of the censorship going on. Like the principal in Tennessee, as he was trying to warn his students about the problem with social media censorship. You know, the stuff that we're going through right now. And then you see there at the Capitol that they are gearing up now with, about almost 30,000 National Guard members. They're sleeping on the floor as they were coming in there. You have them warning Kamala, the communist, not to go out there because there's a threat. Governor DeSantis, there in Florida, probably one of the few real conservative governors, getting ready for this. They're coming against us. And as you watched at the Capitol, the behavioral engineering project that went on, you start to see Christians becoming more and more silent. There are still those who have been leading the charge out there on social media. They're still fighting and they're still trying to do what's right. But just like you've seen in 2020, Christians are becoming more silent. They're afraid. But see, as a Christian, you're not supposed to be afraid. This is a time now for you to have a Bible and a sword. We need to be bringing people into the scripture, showing them the truth. We need to be able to defend our families. And we need to be leading the charge out there peacefully, organized very well, and with great discernment. We cannot be in silence. If we continue to do these things, then all of the people who eventually took over the GOP, they're going to continue to stay in power. We already know that the GOP's finished. It's not the party of Christianity. It's the party of false Christianity. Mike Pence made a clown of many Christians throughout this nation. He's a globalist fool. I gave him the benefit of a doubt because I wanted him to do the right things and because I thought that he set a great example for the nation. But all of the things that I had heard and I had read, I didn't talk much about it. And that is my failure. Right? I will never do that again. I will say something every time from now on, as much as I can. And because now look what that man has done. And if he runs in 2024, I'm going to be out there in the forefront, making sure somebody runs against his end. He's done. But back to the Christians. The communist takeover in America has become very strong. And we're looking at a problem because Christians won't speak out anymore. They're scared to. They were conditioned last year as they capitulated to all of the mask mandates. Look how easily they were able to bow down. I had some people visit today. I hadn't seen it in a long time. And every time I see somebody do this to me, you know what it does? I always do this. You know why? Because it offends me that they're doing that. Shake my hand. Stop being afraid. Quit doing what they tell you to do. You're doing their bidding. See, if we continue to be silent as Christians and not doing our job, the only people who are allowed are those who are in the streets riding all of this time and now are in power. We have a fight coming, a battle for our homes and our futures. And it's important that we do something about that. We can't sit anymore and allow our country to be completely taken over. And there's a time coming when you're going to have to do something. There's a time coming when you're going to have to go to jail. That's right, because you know they're going to push through their equality bills. You know that they're going to push through the silencing of the Bible. But you know what? That's your fault. You let it happen. You sat there on your hands. And many of you sat there and ridiculed this organization and other organizations as we were out there trying to warn and fight against it. How many of you are sitting there now thinking I'm not a moral person because I tell you to forget COVID and go to work? And because I'm telling you to kick back against a tyrannical government. I wonder how many of you are. It's important that you listen to me tonight, because this week is going to be a difficult one. We don't know what we're about to see. And we're going to get into that on our program on Freedom First Network tomorrow night. We'll be back with you as we're preparing for some stuff to show you there about some of the censorship and some of the things that's going to be going on. So you stay tuned to that. Frontline Live. It's Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. But you need to be ready for what's coming. There are some things that's coming down the pike. I don't think it's going to change what's about to happen. It's already in motion. But what we can do is prepare the Christian. And that's what we're going to do here on this show. We're going to be out there fighting the good fight. And we're not giving in. And unfortunately, we're going to have to be fighting against people who carry that name. 2021 is going to be the year of the brown shirt. And they're going to be marching in their streets. And they're going to be coming after people like me. They're going to be coming after people like Jeff Dornick, J.D. Rucker, Pastor Sam, Schumann. And even some people that we've recently worked with over these last few years. Might even be people who turn us in. I've been watching some of what you say. And I know that you may not even have my back. I can tell. Just because I haven't said nothing to you publicly doesn't mean I don't see it. But you should know I know. And you should know we all know. But I'm hoping that you're listening to me and think about what you're doing and saying and not doing and saying. I know this is a sobering episode, but this must be done in its time. And we're going to go ahead and take another break. And when we come back, we'll finish this out. And we'll see what we need to be doing this next week forward into the future. This is Battlefront SouthGate.
Dustin Faulkner here.
Thanks for joining the SouthGate, produced by Battlefront Broadcasting for the GK Podcast Network. It has been an honor to bring you a perspective on truth that you may not be getting through your normal avenues. That's what we do here. That's why we want to help you become equipped with the deepest research and the most qualified experts to help us deliver this. But you may know we're not just Battlefront Southgate with Dustin Faulkner, the podcast on this network. We are a growing network of our own. Currently, we are building a website that will deliver content to you which no other network seeks to bring. We are a news organization, a research organization, and an entertainment media organization. We will be a conference organization, only bringing you the best speakers and soldiers in this fight against that which seeks to destroy our nation and others abroad. But first, we are your truth-revealing organization. The only way we can bring this is by your support. Help us to continue launching this and grow a network for you to get exactly what you need. If you enjoy the Southgate program, then be prepared for what we are building at bfbroadcasting.com. If you would like us to fulfill our purpose as Battlefront Broadcasting, please support us through paypal.me/default systems. DFAULKSYSTEMS. Any amount you choose will not go to waste and will help to continue launching this network, which we know you won't regret. Thank you for listening, and keep informed and be prepared with us. BFB out. And welcome back to the final segment of Battlefront Southgate. I'm your host, Dustin Faulkner. And tonight we are talking straightforward to the Christians out there who are cowering in silence. Many times you've heard me talk about the things that we were being prepared for and the preparation that was given to you. And one of the things that led to the preparation, I believe, of the capitulation of Christians in the church to the things that we are seeing today, we outlined in a book called Social Injustice. And it was exposing the false gospel of the social justice movement. And I, with 12 authors, wrote about 12 aspects of this issue that had infiltrated the church. And the social justice gospel has infiltrated the church very well with much of the things such as critical race theory. You've had income inequality. Jeff Dornick wrote about that in there, and the LGBTQ RSTUVRASPECT, don't know what it means to me. Those people got into the church, and then they caused there to be pews. And as you've watched, women elevate into positions of the pulpit, all of that. The destruction of the patriarchy. In that book, you need to get that book. You can go there on the gatekeepersonline.com and use the code Dustin, DUSTIN. And then when you get that book, you will get 10% off of it in the store. And you need to have that in your library. I know that a lot of you want these ebooks and everything, but if you look around, a lot of that's being censored now. And That's why I've always tried to get physical media. That's why it's very important for her. Because how long will it be before they are doing digital book burning? And that's coming because they're already doing digital printing press burning, which is what the social media platforms were. They're erasing everybody. They're erasing me. I can't buy advertising because of the things that I say that are truthful. I don't even get out here and sound wild a lot of the times like a bunch of other people do. Especially like the clowns who are Antifa and Black Lives Matter, the things that they get on there and spew, the hate. Sorry about that, man. But the fact of the matter is, you need to get this book in your library. I wrote about the illegal immigration issue as it was used in the church by people like Beth Moore, the Catholic Church. You've seen a lot of them were using that as an issue that allowed them to come over here and infiltrate into the areas and then change the landscape, the voting landscape, the refugee resettlement. A lot of that and sort of the things that have happened here. And I use that to tell you about how they were using that and making money off of that. And that's what they are. They're large profiteers. And they are the brown shirts. But they use that issue there as you have people like Dr. Andy Woods, who talks about social justice and eschatology. Dr. Mike Spalding does a really great chapter in there. Thomas Littleton. Pastor Ken Peters, you heard him speak at the Save America rally there with Pastor Greg Locke. Author Brandon House linked his collaboration with us there and gives you a really good opening rundown of who the major players are that began this social justice issue decades and decades ago. You can get there. You can also email me at battlefrontbroadcasting@outlook.com. And I do have books on hand, $25, and I will sign that and send that your way. That is one of the ways that you can help support this organization. As many of you have seen, I've had to back away this last year because of the way that I needed to make an income. And these things are what causes us to be funded so that we can not be beholden to these stupid cancel culture people who are causing us to not have a voice. And as we are talking about you Christians who become silent, I'm one of those who are not. But I need support. We need support. And also, we released a second book called Church and State, How the Left Used the Church to Conquer America. Many great authors on there. Pastor Greg Locke, Denise McAllister. You also have another one by Pastor Kim Peters, Dr. Mike Spalding, J.D. Rucker, Jeff Dornick, many other great authors like Pastor Sam Jones and Dr. Bobby Lopez. They're out of Dallas as he talks about the rot in the seminaries. Church and State. That is an important book to have in your library as well so that you can begin to understand these issues. Get these books. Use the code DUSTIN and buy them. Pay for these things. You can get them now as a bundle. Great sale on there. Use it. Get your 10% off, guys. And then it also helps to fund the work that we do over here at Battlefront Broadcasting and at gatekeepersonline.com. It's important that you know these things. You know that the communist infiltration has happened and you don't know who you're sitting in the pew with anymore. And in there I write about TGC, the Phoenix of the Third Way. It's important to understand that. And a lot of you here in Texas need to understand that all pretty much began here. And it's all linked back to Tyler with Bob Buford. The church growth, the mega church movement, the emergent church, and how it all became the Gospel Coalition. And you know people out there still quoting these people, quoting these guys who are going to inoculate you. Quoting these people who are going to be whispering to Gestapo to come and raid your homes. This is the issue that we're discussing tonight. Now, you've watched this as we've talked about how this big tech censorship has happened. Many of you have probably even experienced it in some kind of slight way yourselves. Many of you have been in Facebook jail before. Many of you have posted up things that were in support of Trump. Well, guess what? That stuff's happening to the Christians. That stuff now they're going to be censoring you if you talk about Jesus Christ. Are you willing to go to jail for Jesus? Or is it all talk? Or is it a bunch of people who are putting on cosmetics and making cute TikTok videos with pretty hair? I see a lot of those now with their shallow theology, their best life now theology. Are you going to be one of those people who lays down and allows these things to happen? Just like you've seen Attorney General Ken Paxton, as they got arrested for that lady who was harvesting scheme with the voting. Then you've seen how we've always talked about Jared Kushner was a problem. How he's blocked Trump from being on Gap. Now these are still things that I haven't had time to get onto. I'm getting onto them. I was on Parler. If that ever comes back up, I'm at BF Broadcasting. But you can follow me on Twitter, still at BF_Frontline. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Battlefront Broadcasting. And also, excuse me, also like us there on Facebook, Battlefront Broadcasting, the GK Podcast Network, and Freedom First Network there. And you have to physically start going on there and looking at this stuff daily because they're censoring all of us. We're not able to get the messages out and the programming out. And there are some great programs, guys. Great programs. You see now that all of this is happening and coming to fruition, we've been warning was going to happen. And while many of you turn your backs on us as you sat in your homes scared of a virus, and you wouldn't rise up, now your rights are dwindling away. And then you say that we're not allowed to kick back against the government. Why? Are you afraid that you're going to bite the hand that feeds you? Do you want that to be the hand that feeds you? But speaking of the... excuse me. Oh, watch out. Don't turn me in. But as we're speaking about the social media censorship, there is something that we've created there on the Gatekeepers Online site. So all of you go to gatekeepersonline.com, and we have built communities so that you could stay regularly informed with all of your shows that you follow, including myself. We have social groups now that we're building there. Those are growing bigger. Be sure to go there and join each of those groups. You could join the Battlefront Broadcasting group. You could join the Schumann group. You could the Federalist faction, the Gatekeepers group, as we're all together there. You can also join Dr. Mike Spalding's group. Go there to there. Those are going to be the future there, because a lot of these things are going to have to move into premium membership so that we can protect ourselves from these this censorship, so that we can protect ourselves from the onslaught that is about to come. And so go there and join our groups and share this on with your friends so that we can start having really great discussion there going. You can go there and you can share all of the information that you have. You could talk with one another. You can discuss all of the programs that we offer you in all of those groups. Engage with the communities. And that's exactly what social media is supposed to be. So please, go on to gatekeepersonline.com and check out those new communities that we've developed there. And be sure to be joining Battlefront Broadcasting Group and all of the other great groups that are on there that are separate, but all of us are together. So very important. Great idea that we have going on there. Check it out. But it's important that all of you listen. And all of you know that if you stay silent, we're going to lose this fight. What's coming in the next week? There's going to be another effort to pin things on Christians, on capitalists, on conservatives, on patriots. That we are the insurrectionists. I don't want to tell you not to go to these protests and have your voice heard, but you need to be very organized and you need to be very careful. I unfortunately will not be able to attend any of these to be able to broadcast these things for you and to get the raw feeds that we used to do with Battlefoot Broadcasting. But please support us. You can support us financially. Also, if you would like, at paypal.me/default systems. We're going to be doing some other avenues where you can do that as well. But if you do go to these, do not bring your weapons carrying them around. Do not get into these cliques of crowds, because you're going to start seeing like you did there on the Capitol, where there are instigators, and these are false instigators. These are trained people, and you've already seen this information presented to you by numerous reporters and journalists and other people such as myself and independent media outlets like Gatekeepers, Worldview Weekend, Freedom First Network, Newsmax, other organizations who have reported these things like Gateway Pundit. So you've got to be smart. You may not even want to go to these things, because what's going to happen is they're going to try and do a false flag their operation so that they can do some more behavioral engineering, and also for a seizure of the First Amendment and for the Second Amendment. They know that they're already working on the First Amendment being taken away from you. That's why they're censoring us with big tech, because you start censoring the voice of the people. And if you go ahead and allow that, like many of you are laying down and giving up, you don't want to kick back, and like you did this last year with 2020, that should be an example to you what will happen when you let it happen. But that's what they're going to do. And Biden is already bringing out bills. We'll be talking about a lot of this tomorrow on Frontline Live. So stay tuned for that, about how the bills that they're introducing, that's going to be very good about labeling us to be the domestic terrorists. And anyway, so you're going to see a lot of that happening. And I exhort you to get out there and make your voice heard in any way that you can, and to be able to get out there and share programs like these with everyone that you know. Because if you don't, it's over. We are the last beacon of freedom in the whole world. That's why the Marxists want to take us down. And that's why it's important for all of us, and I've said that, important, the whole program. It's important. Just don't lay down. You are required as a Christian to not lay down and take it. You are required to be out there giving the truth. You are required to be out there delivering the truth. You are required to be out there fighting for the truth. You are not given this hope so that you can lay down and keep it to yourself. And now you are coming in times where you're going to lose it. And that's why we want you to know that you can put a stop to this. You must do something. You must be strong Christians. Get out there. Be strong. Don't lay down. Don't stay silent. This is Dustin Faulkner. SouthGate out.